Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, the Biden administration has really went full throttle, on the, migrant issue. There was a Los Angeles declaration, let's say, for migrants and protection. It actually took place in Lima, Peru. The United States have made some commitments to migrants, and I want to go through this document that coming directly from the State Department. And when a lot of you came to vote for the Biden administration in 2020, I'm speaking to the Black community and those of you who really defend the Biden administration, you're very upset of any kind of criticism of what they're not doing for us. Because that's the thing. They're not doing anything for us. Once we go through this, you will really see all the money they got, they just throwing around everywhere else. But yet Black America is suffering, and also the rest of Americans are suffering too. Let's go ahead on and look at this, and we definitely going to come back and expound. So let's go through the Los Angeles Declaration on Migration and Protection Lima Ministerial Meeting. So as you can see, it comes from state.gov, the U.S. Department of State, an official website of the United States government. So, we telling the truth here. We always got to put out the facts before we do anything. So on October the 6th, foreign ministers and representatives from among 21 endorsing countries of the Los Angeles Declaration of Migration and Protection met in Lima, Peru to advance a shared response to irregular migration and forced displacement throughout the Western Hemisphere. Endorsing countries reaffirmed their commitment to creating conditions for safe, orderly, humane, and regular migration, and in line with the Los Angeles Declaration's 3 thematic pillars of action. Number 1, stability and assistance for communities. We don't get stability and assistance. Number 2, regular pathways for migration and international protection. Black Americans aren't protected. And humane migration management. As they had the Los Angeles Declaration ministerial meeting, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken announced over $240 million in new humanitarian and security assistance from the Department of State to address the immediate drivers and root causes of irregular migration, as well as assist those forced to flee. So when you flee from your homeland, you come into resources. But Black Americans did not flee, and yet Black Americans don't get anything. Let's continue. Now, this is the party and people that a lot of Black Americans voted for. Remember this in 2024. It said this includes $82 million in humanitarian assistance and over $160 million in bilateral and regional assistance, along with nearly $575 million in additional humanitarian assistance, it said announced since September 21. The Department of State and the USAID have this month announced nearly $817 million. Listen to that. $817 million in new assistance, supporting our efforts under the Los Angeles Declaration. Y'all, you want to know where your reparations at? It's right here. This is where your reparations money is at. But they tell you they don't have money for reparations. But this is Biden. Biden has been, this is his agenda right here. Let's say the country's published a joint statement formally launching implementation and announcing country leads for participation under various action packages, which will develop concrete shared lines of effort over the coming year. Foreign ministers and representatives from among the 21 endorsing countries presented progress on existing commitments and under the Los Angeles Declaration and announced new initiatives and programs. Now, I'm only going to focus on what the United States is going to do. So Pillar 1, stability and assistance for communities. You see all these other countries, not our problem. All right, the United States identified $25 million for the Global Concessional Financing Facility as part of our Los Angeles Declaration efforts to support refugee and host communities in eligible middle income countries. So, Black Americans could use some of that money. I know people in Chicago right now definitely were talking about some of that money. The U.S. obligated more than $314 million in humanitarian and development assistance for the region, with nearly $103 million in humanitarian assistance funding from the Bureau for Population, Refugees, and Migration to support Venezuelan refugees and migrants, $171 million from the USAID's Bureau of Humanitarian Assistance, providing humanitarian aid, funding, and emergency food assistance for Venezuelan migrants and refugees in Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, as well as multi-sectoral humanitarian assistance for vulnerable Venezuelans still in their home country. So not only are they getting it when they come here, they're getting it in their home country. And $40 million in development funding from USAID's Bureau for Latin America and the Caribbean to support the integration of migrants in Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil, Costa Rica, Panama, and Belize. And so the United States has announced nearly $817 million, as we read earlier, in new assistance in September. This kind of explains a little more. And so this includes more than $240 million in new regional humanitarian security assistance to address immediate drivers and root causes, in migration announced, in Lima. This also includes $376 million in additional humanitarian assistance for people affected by the Venezuela regional crisis. And more than $199 million in additional humanitarian assistance for Mexico and Central America. Now, regular pathways for migration and international protection, something that Black Americans don't have in their country. Let's go down to the United States. So the United States announced it would double its illegal labor pathway for Central America, in FY 2022, while enhancing worker protections. The United States issued more than 19,000 seasonal labor H-2 visas to Northern Central American nationals in fiscal year 2022. It said compared to 9,796, fiscal year 2021. That's a 94% increase. It said legal labor pathways provide an alternative to irregular migration while meeting domestic labor needs for employers who can demonstrate no U.S. workers are able, willing, qualified, or available to do the temporary work. And the United States is working further to expand those pathways in fiscal year 2023, in addition to collaborating, with interagency partners, to help reduce H-2 workers' significant vulnerabilities. The United States government is working concurrently to improve safeguards for ethical recruitment and to strengthen worker protections, and will have additional announcements on these steps soon. As the United States will dramatically expand refugee resettlement in the Western Hemisphere. So the United States resettled 2,485 individuals, in fiscal year 2022, a 521% increase over fiscal year 2021. An 8-year high for the region. Now, fiscal year 2021, Trump was still in office with fiscal year, right? Because that's come some of his administration. So Biden comes in and he's increased it by 521%. The United States will further expand protection pathways, in fiscal year 2023. So United States began refugee resettlement for Haitian refugees. In September, the United States began refugee resettlement interviews for Haitian refugees. It continues to say the United States announced the resumption of processing immigration visas in Cuba and accelerated processing of Cuban family reunification. Now we know it's the white Cubans, not the black ones. The United States announced in September an expansion of legal pathways available for Cubans wishing to come to the United States, and increase in personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Havana. Beginning in early 2023, the U.S. Embassy in Havana will resume full immigrant visa processing for the first time since 2017. Additionally, following the successful resumption of the Cuban family reunification parole, program in August, the United States announced it would increase the number of personnel in Havana to efficiently and effectively process cases and conduct interviews. He said the United States will conduct 6 refugee processing trips in Latin America to interview more than 2,500 refugee applications in the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. Now, the pillar number 3, humane migration management. Let's go down to the United States. The United States has made more than 5,000 arrests of people suspected of crimes related to human smuggling and association with transnational criminal organizations since April 22. It said the interruptions to criminal activity resulted in the seizure of hundreds of thousands of dollars, electronic devices, weapons, ammunition, and vehicles. It said this campaign will continue. A problem. When you have more than 100,000 people coming across the border, that's nothing. It said the United States supports transnational criminal investigative units. To improve, host country capacity to investigate transnational crime, including human trafficking and migrant smuggling in Mexico, Panama, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. And they said the United States will implement the asylum processing interim final rule. It's in May to allow for expedited processing of asylum claims of non-citizens, and that's what y'all seeing now. The expedited process of asylum claims of non-citizens who enter the United States via the U.S. border. So they don't have to follow the rules. They just go around it, and let's get back to it. If you look at all the money that they're throwing around, that's in the billions of dollars. Now, when they tell you and me they don't have money for reparations, they can't do reparations. Reparations would be so hard. How are we going to quantify it? Who are we going to give it to? Well, if we do it, we need a commission. We need a study. We need to take the temperature in the air to see if everybody in the country agrees with it. And it may be, we don't know if it's going to be discriminatory giving something to Black Americans. But when you read that document and saw all what the Biden administration is going to do for migrants, for people who's not even citizens of this country, no study, no commission, not asking white people in America if they're cool with all that money going over there. No mainstream media polls, no HR 40 hearings, none of that. They just, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do all that. When I told you that when they deny reparations, it's not a money thing. It's an anti-Black racism thing. And this is a Democrat administration. Now, y'all told me, many of you have told me that the Democrats are better than the Republicans. I say both parties don't support Black people. Let's call it what it is. But you told me that the Democrats are better. The Democrats will look out for Black people. That's why you vote for them. Because you say voting for the Republicans, Trump, or anybody else like that, they're not going to look out for you. How is that looking out for you, giving your tax dollars to everybody else outside of our country? People are struggling. Do you know people could not even afford to even feed their family the way they wanted to, or like they used to feed their family during the holiday? Do you know people was going to places like Golden Corral because it was cheaper to actually go to Golden Corral than to actually eat at home? And based off of all the money that we end up spending cooking at home, it would have been cheaper actually for us to even go to Golden Corral or some restaurant for Thanksgiving. That's how ridiculous it has gotten with the prices. Now, the prices was not like this prior to the Biden administration. Listen, you can like the Democrats all you want, but reality is that the prices were not what he at today. You've been priced out of everything. You can't get a house. You've been priced out of that for the most part. Your young adult children has just about been priced out of getting an apartment. The food is high. You've been priced out of that. People not even doing and you know what? I'm actually proud of the people, because the people said they was going to boycott the Black Friday. That's good, because you wouldn't get no deals no way. Then they sabotaging you with that, because they say, oh, you get a deal $399, and then when people pull back the thing, it was the same price it was the day before so-called Black Friday, right? And I remember when people used to fight for that and all that. These corporations, let me tell you some of these corporations. These corporations control your politicians. They know exactly what Biden and them is doing. They co-sign what they're doing. So the question I have for you after you saw all of that, is this what you got in the poll, the lines for to vote? Was this the reason y'all was dancing and celebrating when Biden got elected? Oh, y'all was dancing in the streets. And not forget, this. Remember when Biden got elected? Let's play that clip.
Especially those moments, and especially those moments where this campaign was at its lowest ebb. the African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours. Always had my back, and I'll have yours. Always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Biden said to y'all, especially black Americans, you had his back and he'll have yours. And yeah, he has never had your back. He's given you his back. He's giving you his butt to kiss and everything else. He's literally flooding Chicago, flooding New York, flooding everywhere he can with migrants. So these people are being incentivized to come up here because look all the money they're getting even when they come here and even in their home country. They say they're going to give them money. They have no money for Americans, but they got money for everybody else. No money for Americans, but you got money for war. No money for Americans for food, for anything. But you got all this. You talking about you want to protect the people. Black Americans have been talking about a protection. So the Democrats got in office, gave the Asian community protection, a hate crime bill. Didn't I tell you? I told y'all that they're going to do something to protect the migrants. And look at that language that we went over. They're going to protect the migrants. They will not protect black Americans at all. They want black Americans sitting ducks. They want, let me tell you something. What they want in the black America, I'm telling you, black America, if you put this Biden administration back in office, you're done. You are done. As a community, we are done. We will be cemented, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, we will be cemented as a permanent, concrete underclass in this country. Biden is trying to make sure by flooding the zone with the people from all these different places, Venezuela, he want to bring the Cubans in. We're not talking about the black Cubans. We talking about the white ones. We know that. You want to bring, you mentioned Haitians. You're not going to bring many Haitians in. Let's call that what it is. You're not. They flooding the zone with all these people, stacking them on top of black folks. They're going to force black folks out the cities into rural areas. They're going to trying to force you out. Okay? And this is being done by who you voted for. So when people say you get what you voted for, this is what they're talking about. You can get mad all you want, but let's call it what it is. I haven't heard Trump say he's going to start importing all the people here and putting them in your neighborhoods. I haven't heard him say it. But this is a written policy that's going to be enacted by the Biden administration State Department. Over here, we're going to tell the truth. We're going to show where we're getting things from. Black America cannot afford to go out there and put Biden and Kamala back in office. They can't afford it at this point. Have y'all seen just all over the country that Americans are suffering? All Americans are suffering. All of them. All. Now, the other folks are finally starting to wake up to it, but we've been telling people forever. Right? This country has this administration has literally taken this country down financially. Things that you never thought that you say, oh, that was shoot. I mean, that's not going to be an issue. Y'all have to understand, people are getting online saying the food is too high. You need food to eat. They're making the food high on purpose. There was a court case I just read that the egg manufacturers were just found guilty of colluding with each other to skyrocket prices. So these companies are colluding to skyrocket the prices on Americans, and the Democrats are supposed to be the party of regulations. But notice the Democrats don't regulate corporate America. They don't say, hey, you're not going to put the prices like that. They don't care about you. You suffering, and they're giving all your tax dollars to everybody else. The Biden administration has went full throttle on saying, you know what? This is open borders. Forget the American people. Definitely forget about Black America. Care about them because they silly. They're going to come vote for me anyway. I mean, shoot. I mean, if I said this to him,
You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Black folks came voted for. This is what Biden saying. Black folks came voted for me after me saying that. Then shoot, I really don't got to do nothing for him. I mean, that man insulted the black community, and y'all still ran out there and voted for him after that kind of insult. I mean, how much more suffering the American people got to go through this administration? Those of you, now I hear a lot of you saying that you're just so done, and that's a vote too. And then there's people say I'll vote the other side. Some people say I'll vote a third party, whatever the case may be. But I told y'all this: either way it goes, just don't give them your vote. That administration that's currently in office is destroying the economy. They can do all this conversation. Oh, we had this many more jobs. And then you find out some of the jobs are just coming back. There was kind of layoffs from the pandemic. So it's not really new jobs. Black America, you're going to really have to make a decision coming up in 2024. Now, you can sit up there and let all these shields, try to beat you down, but them shields, they getting their checks. Clearly, you can see the shields. Have you noticed none of them are starving? Have you noticed that? None of them are complaining about the food's too high. None of them said that they had to go to Golden Corral because they couldn't really afford food for their family. They're treated very well. You have to understand, the shields get paid by delivering you up to the Democrat Party in the area of votes. Look at all the things that Edward Bloom is doing to black folk. What would the Democrats say? The Democrats always talking about fighting for our rights. Where were they at about the affirmative action? Where were they? Where were we at? He's constantly targeting black folk. They don't do nothing about it. But they supposed to be your friends, even though affirmative action don't benefit us. But I'm just giving an example where they supposed to be our friends, right? Y'all got to make a decision, because this, like I said, you want another 4 years of this? You want our economy to deal with this issue for another 4 years? You want to keep seeing billions of dollars going to people, and then these people are getting our money. Then they walk into this country arrogant and looking down on American citizens. Why? Because when you give somebody something they didn't work for, they get arrogant. They get pompous. See, working for something and you earning it, it makes you more humble with it because you earned it. But these people are literally walking on the American people's backs. And what y'all did with Black Friday, it's what y'all gonna have to do with everything. See, the corporations isn't as powerful as what you think they are. The corporations could only survive based on what the people do. The corporations is kind of like if you watch Marvel or whatever, right? And you know the story about Venom. Well, the Venom is a symbiote. It lives off of a host, right? The Venom. So if you get the symbiote off of you, then it really can't live like that. It has to find somebody to live or somebody to do what it wants it to do. Well, the corporations are the same way. If you don't participate and spend your money with these corporations, then they can't make no money. Boycotts, economic boycotts, like what they did with the Black Friday, was genius. See, this is what they did. So during the pandemic, when everybody had to stay in the house, y'all wasn't spending money. Y'all saved a lot of money. Y'all saving money all day long. Y'all eating at home. You was paying your internet bill, watching streaming services. We weren't going to the movies. We were saving a lot of money that way. All of us was. And then the moment you came out of your house, because you was getting cabin fever, so the moment you came out of your house, and I get it, because cabin fever is real. Oh, it's real. I get it. My kids are going crazy too. They want to go out and do different things. I get it. Human beings supposed to be mobile, doing different things. I get it. But with these corporations, they all colluded with each other and say, you know what? We could say, well, because of inflation, let's just raise the prices. Because they wasn't making no money. I mean, people that's like internet shopping and, places like streaming services and all that was making a lot of money. But they were saying that let's raise the price, everybody out now. And they all, just like the egg companies colluded, all of them colluded. And the American people got to take a stand. And one way to take a stand is let Joe Biden know at the polls in 2024 that won't be tolerated no more. You didn't rein in the corporations. You're giving a lot of tax dollars to everybody. All this money you giving to everybody, y'all can't do a stimulus for everybody? America don't need to give money to nobody at this point until Americans are fixed. We got homeless people. We got infrastructure. It's like, we did an infrastructure bill. It hasn't been completed. You still got problems. It hasn't been implemented as of yet. But you quickly give money in the millions, billions to all these different people. Black folks, I'm going to tell you again, if you go out and vote for the Biden administration, I'm telling you, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Because you don't care about yourself. You don't care about your children. You don't care even about your grandchildren. And that's my issue with the older generation. You're so freaking loyal to the Democrats and you screwing your grandchildren. You screwing your great grandchildren. And that's the thing. I was doing the research on who really voted for the Civil Rights Bill. Yes, they had a Democrat president. And they had more Democrats in the Senate and more Democrats in the House. But percentage-wise, do you know there was more opposition to the Civil Rights Bill by Democrats? More Republicans, percentage-wise, supported the bill in the House and the Senate. Democrats were against it, a lot of them. I'm like, wow, I didn't know. Because the way that we've been taught in the black community, well, the Democrats did the Civil Rights Bill. A lot of them didn't want to do it. You have to understand the Democrats were the Dixiecrats, literally, and they didn't want us to have rights. But yet we became so beholden to this party and realized what this party is doing to us today is really returning back to what they always were. They didn't look out for black people. We had to look out for ourselves as a community. And we're going to have to get back to looking out for ourselves as a community. But I want y'all to, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't get it. Explain to me how millions and billions of dollars can go to everybody else. The migrants getting papered up. But Black America, we can't get reparations. We can't get nothing investment into our communities, our schools. You want to literally take everything, take the community center away from them and say, oh, we're going to put the migrants over there. Y'all don't matter. Who cares about you American citizens? You're not worth anything. We're going to take from you and give it to them, and we're going to paper them up. This is what they're doing. And American citizens all over the world and in this country got to say, wait a minute, hold on. No. These politicians are sold out to political action committees, and they sold out to corporations. People need to put aside their differences, and we all got them, and say, look, it's in our best interest to rein in these politicians, these corporations, and these political action committees. Because they don't work for the people. They work for everybody else but the people. Or you will suffer the consequences if you don't. Dr. King showed us economic boycotts work. He showed us that. He showed us. So what are we going to do in 2024? Black people especially. Are you going to go out and vote blue no matter who? And then get cemented as a permanent underclass? Or are you going to actually take a stand and say, no, we can't do this. We are not going to reward this administration for literally doing us wrong. The ball is in your court. You got less than a year now, to make that decision, because things are not going to go well in this country, ladies and gentlemen, with this administration, if it stays in power, I'm telling you, we're going to get into a deep, deep depression. And don't say you wasn't warned. Don't say you wasn't warned.